Sorry to Bother You, a social commentary focusing attention on the working class and those above. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, an action comedy about a young man who must fight his girlfriend's evil ex-boyfriends in order for them to be together. At first glance you might think, what the hell do these two movies have in common? Well, more than you might think.
Wow.
This is due to directors Edgar Wright and Boots Riley sharing similar approaches in how they present their information to the audience.
Really? You gonna stuff all those french fries in your mouth? I'm feeling competent.
Did you catch what they did there? Cassius in one shot asks his friend a question, and in the next shot we are transported to a nightclub later that night, visually seeing what Cassius was referring to in the first shot. Now if you're a fan of Edgar Wright's work, you might find this style to be a little familiar.
Let's do that one again. Sorry, what are we doing? I told you like 50 times.
We're going to this party, retard.
Party?
Did that seem familiar? That's because both directors enjoy utilizing this type of continuity editing into their films.
Scott! What? You only played one note for that entire song.
With the way both directors utilize this style, conveying information to the audience is key. Cassius asks a question to someone off-screen, with the question, still in our minds, being answered with a relevant shot even if the setting has changed. The same thing happens in this scene after Scott asks his question. It is still in the audience's minds, and is immediately answered even with the change of setting. Shots like these are sprinkled throughout both movies, but the editing is not where the similarities end. Through the use of clever mixture between cinematography and sound, both films use close-ups to signify what characters are feeling in the moment.
About how beauty, love, and laughter thrive and flourish under almost any circumstance.
These close-ups signify to the audience either an intense level of stress or anxiety.
Have to go.
While Scott Pilgrim may use these close-ups to convey more emotions than stress or anxiety, the goals of having the audience understand the characters and resonate with them are the same. Now, if I were to talk about all the meanings behind every item or prop used in these movies, this video would just be too long. Everything from Detroit's earrings to Scott's coat patch, there's just so much to unpack from them both. So instead, let's hone it down to the mise-en-scène that uses the element of foreshadowing.
This is boring. Delete.
These two directors love to foreshadow events using different elements in their scenes. By using these elements, they can relay information to their audience without the risk of spoiling a twist or outcome, while still hinting at what's to come later in the story. A great example of this being implemented is from a very simple shot of Cassius in his office. The picture in the frame shows exactly where Cassius has started his journey, where he has been in his journey, and where he is heading in his journey. But that isn't the only time Boots Riley decides to use items in the frame to his advantage.
Fuck. It's strong, man.
Anybody who's seen the movie knows that this plate has significance, and this Coke being laid out on top of this plate is no coincidence. This will have an effect on Cassius.
Help me.
But if you haven't seen the movie, well, I'll just leave it at that. It's insane. Scott Pilgrim utilizes mise-en-scène the same way, foreshadowing events to come. Scott and his then-girlfriend Knives Chow play arcade games simulating ninjas towards the beginning of the film. During the climax, they team up and defeat the last evil ex-boyfriend, Gideon, using moves similar to how they played the game originally. Both films are beautifully layered with Easter eggs and hidden meanings, and both use the same techniques to convey this information. Is there really much comparison you can draw between the style of these two films?
Shut the fuck up.
Caramel macchiato. Or Pilgrim.
I tend to think so.